Hi guys, Amanda here. I'm Gage's mom, and we're setting up tonight and discussing some things that are going on in my life. And I'm getting ready to go to a city board meeting, and I've never been to one. And I'm 45 years old and never attended not one meeting to a board meeting. But the issue that has brought my attention that I need to attend is elderlies. My in-laws to be specific, but then it made me think about why I would need to go because I can handle yard work. I love working in the yard. But when I seen this, I thought, what about all the other people that don't have someone to help them out, to get out there and correct it? They only give you, with these violations, they only give you like a few days, 10 to 15 days at the most. So you got to get on this. And as an elderly person, they're limited with their income. They're limited with the resources of getting the help there to get the job done and the violation corrected. So it puts them underneath an overwhelming amount of stress. And they can't do it for themselves. They're unable to move around, getting from the bed to the bathroom, let alone getting out there on the lawnmower and the weed eater or, a shovel. Here comes winter, so look out, old people, because that's the next violations. But, we live in a really nice town. People around here most always help, but there's those things that sneak around the corner that make things not so comfortable for people. And it makes you feel like they're trying to run those type of people out of town. And the ones that have never attended a meeting, my husband's 50 and he's never attended a meeting. My in-laws, they're 80 and 82. And you want to know how many town meetings they've went to? Not many. So I don't feel bad by saying I've never been to one. I don't know what's expected of me, but I think that things need to be brought up to the board so that they know what's happening to the ones that's behind those closed doors that can't get up there to those city hall windows and see an ordinance sign that might be hung up there, or be in the city town hall meeting, like I'm going to go attend for the first time. They
email
they
would be helpful.
they can't even, well, yeah, they can't even operate a computer or a phone anymore because they can't see. They have no idea. They can't remember how to navigate that system. You know, um, Writing a letter isn't no longer any simple task. That's, well, how do I do it? Where do I get the information? It's not a simple task like it was, 60 years ago when things were rocking and rolling for those 80-year-olds. Now everything is a task. Getting up and going to the bathroom is a task if you can make it to the restroom. Okay, so imagine what it's like to get all these violations and know that you have no funds in your banking account. Everything's tapped out because you've had heart surgery, your wife's had surgery, and then, oh, they messed up on that surgery, so you got another surgery, and you're just very tapped on resources for food, for your bills, and help. This stuff shouldn't be happening to our elderly. This stuff should be known before it comes to our residents of any type of residents, not just elderly. Anyone that needs help. These things should be handled, but we're living in a small community. We have right around 200 people in our residence where I live. And our town board can't even give me a list of the ordinances that we're supposed to obey. So, what is expected of us, we have no idea because there's no list of clearer things that we're supposed to go by. So, even if they wanted to hire people that would come in an emergency, which would cost an arm and a leg to get these people in 12 to 15 days, because I'm going to call a construction company, see if they're going to come out in 12 or 15 days. Call a heater guy. It's going to take days, okay, just to get someone to come out and look at your air conditioning or your heater, or any kind of people to come out and work at your home. It's going to take more than 12 to 15 days to come up with this. And that's what they're giving on these ordinances for elderly, for people that are poverty, people that, just had a stroke or heart attack and everything was going wonderful and now their tables are flipped. Okay, this should be something that our town should have had. One, we should know what our violations are, should be. Whenever they give it to us, we should have known that it was requested of us, it was mandated of us. What are the fines if they wasn't followed? I asked our mayor, and him himself couldn't tell me what the ordinances were, or he even said that the fines weren't set in place yet. He was new being placed in there. And I feel like our mayor's going to do a great job. I just feel like he was thrown in a mess. And we can't just keep passing the buck and being, oh, this guy's fault, this guy's fault. We need to come together and figure out how to correct this so that our town's not getting all these lawsuits, and that just drains our community. And that's not what we need. We need some more support of gathering together, coming up with ideas. And no one's interested in going to these board meetings. I mean, obviously, if you got people that's 50 years old and they've never attended one, or 45, there's not many people, the regular people in the communities, that want to go to the city meetings. So we should be notified what's going on in those city meetings. But for the longest time, our city hall didn't even have a phone or answering machine. I don't know if that's ever been corrected or not, but it was hard to get a message through that you, as an elderly, needed help to get that violation corrected.
To think on the positive side of things, what have they provided you with any information that was helpful in this area?
Well, they told me that there was a contract signed between our city council and another location outside of our county, which made things even more confusing, because then at that point I was like, okay, so you signed a contract and the city council did it on the behalf of all the residents, and that took some understanding if you don't know anything about stuff like this.
So they haven't provided you with any contact information to learn more about the circumstances?
No, I asked, can I see a copy of the contract, and it's due to my responsibility to go run down this place that our city council signed a contract with and see if I can even view the contract. I don't even know if I can. I just figured that if they signed a contract, that would be a list of the ordinances that are expected of us. So that's why I asked for that.
And maybe a website, or
they couldn't tell me other than the name of the program that they signed a contract with, and said that I could go to them myself. Well, is that the responsibility of every one of our residents? I think it should be a responsibility as the board, expecting it of us. I mean, and in that actual moment, I sit there and I think about, I live in one county, and there's this other place that this other place that we've signed a contract with is actually in a whole nother county. So are we going by the ordinances out of that county because we signed a contract with? Are we still, like, if we're in violation, do we still go to our county for courts? It was a lot of questions there that I know I'm not the only one that thought about those questions. Or even whenever we're the lady that's going by doing the ordinance enforcement, and taking the pictures, I mean, she apparently has a list. Why can't she give them a list and supply us as residents with a list of what's expected?
You believe it's a common courtesy for the city to provide its citizens with the information needed to.
I think it's a constitutional right.
Comply with.
I think that if you want me to do something, I should know what you're expecting of me and what the consequences are if I fail to comply to your consequences or to your requests. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's that's how society works, and I don't think that part right there has been made clear to anyone that I've spoke to this dealing with this moment. And like I said, I've got multiple violations. These violations did not affect me in any negative way. I want to clean up our town. How it affected me was when I've seen my in-laws that are elderly have to deal with this and know the situation of what they've dealt with in the last couple of weeks. They've watched their daughter get buried. They've watched, you know, horrible, awful things happen to them that parents aren't supposed to see with their children. And they've had to deal with this. And it wasn't just with one child. We won't mention about the other because it's still rough, but they're put in horrible positions where you're fighting for funds to bury your child, and now you've got the city ordinance. And if you've worked in law enforcement your whole entire life, you know when you get a violation that it goes straight to, oh, what's the consequences? When I go to court, I know I'm going to have to pay some money here. So that's where
not to
their
be
minds go.
Not to be the devil's advocate here, but now that I I love old people, so I'm just saying this for argument's sake here.
All right, go ahead.
But shouldn't no matter their age or no matter their sex or gender or anything like that, every citizen should be upheld to the law.
Mm-hmm.
And what the law is in this town is to follow the city ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they don't have help, then
that's not their problem.
That's not their problem. They either follow the ordinances or leave.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say to that?
Well, I say that if you're actually, wanting the elderly to be a part of your community, you need to help your community that's elderly or those special needs people. Put in as city council, I think they should have in plan maybe using the court system. Being this is a court issue that's going to take your property or put you in financial burden. I think that they should go to the court system because the court system also supplies them with people that's willing to do these things because they tell them, look, you have so many hours of community service through the courts. So why doesn't the courts hook up all these cities around and say, okay, you have to go serve them with so many hours of community service out at this town or that town?
Okay, but to go through to be able to keep them in our town,
mm-hmm.
Okay, the old, the elderly and
anyone in need,
the disabled, and
just anyone that needs assistance, because it really is about just anyone that may need assistance. But specifically, I think the elderly are being mistreated on this deal.
Yeah. Could you?
I think actually everyone is.
Could you tell me what would be valuable about trying to keep those members of our society in town? What the value of keeping them here would be?
Well, a lot. But this is a retirement community. They've served their time. This is a place to come and relax and to live your last days. We have a good old boy. Sometimes I don't like using that because it can be looked at either way. But neighbors, and most of my, like I said, this community is a very nice community. Okay, it is. There are flaws. Okay, and everyone likes to do that pointing the finger thing. And I don't think it's anyone specific person's fault. I think it's just you got so many that go, and they don't really think about things and don't question things. And then when someone does, I think they all think of it as a complaint or some kind of a bad way of complaining. Not like, hey, you've brought this to my attention, and this could be something that could be resolved. It's always something negative, and that part of our community I don't like, but it's not all of them. Like I said, this is really just I haven't really been mingled into my community. I work and I come home and I do my own thing, and I take care of my in-laws and I take care of my family members, and I'm a helper to my husband, and I'm a mother and a grandmother, and I do my produce and things like that in the summer times, but in the fall and the spring and all, my empty nest has now come on, so I've got to find me a new routine for all my stuff, but it's coming to all that. But right now, my main concern is I don't want to continue with this. We need to know what is expected of us, so we're not just bombarded with it, and we need to know that everyone is following by the rules. And if they want to do a nice guy thing, and because like I said, I can maintain mine and I can maintain theirs. Theirs is like older people have this pride thing, they're already asking for help for everything else. Things that they already, what, in their head, they think they can do it. When they get up to go do it, their body says, you can't do it no longer. And that's the time when we're supposed to step in and we're supposed to help them out and do these things. I have no problem doing that for my in-laws. But not everyone's as fortunate. There's other people that maybe their children have messed up, went to prison, or they're just here alone, and they haven't got the ability because back in their day, asking for help was saying that you couldn't do it. And that makes them scared that they're going to be removed from their home that they're comfortable in, their children have grown up in. And they've got a lot of scares, and it's not right to be doing to our elderly.
I agree. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for tonight.
Okay.
It was good talking with you. Thank you for the opportunity to video with you, Mom.
Well, thanks for the YouTube video. Have a good night. Bye, guys.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on post notification, and stay tuned for the next one. Later.